Hello guys, good morning. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Firda Agustin from 5th semester. I want to explain about my instructional design midterm assignment about the format, lesson plan, and unit tests. The topic that I choose is grammar of future perfect tense, and the materials that needed is notebook, pen, pencil, class book. Now, first, I will explain about instructional sequence, and here I take 10 minutes to warm up because it's just a warm up in the class, where the teacher focus is warm up. Why I choose the first is grade students because this is activity must to do before enter to the class. Checking attendance list. This is the habit and the important things to check whether the student is present or not in the class. Then, teacher asking the previous material is important. Why it's important? Because teacher want to know if the students are studying or not at their home. A motivation. A motivation that I choose is never lose hope because it is the key to achieve all your dreams. Why I choose it? Because I want their spirit to be up and useful in the future. Talking about students' activity, I want them to participate in the class because I don't want them to leave their materials and be in class on time so that students will become disciplined. Now, I have 40 minutes of teaching content, and my topic that I will explain to students is about grammar of future perfect tense. Why I choose this? Because sometimes students are weak at grammar, and whenever they talk, they don't choose grammar, but also sometimes they use grammar. Grammar is important for students to know. So here, first step is I will discuss with students about the grammar, and then I explain the future tense with the formulas and explain what is future perfect tense. After that, I will give them examples. Why? Because I want them to understand and really understand of the formulas. For student activities, they have to listen what am I explained about. I want them to write the important points on their notebook. I will give them a chance to ask if they don't understand. It is very important because grammar is really hard to make the students understand about. Third sequence, I want to have 30-minute time length because in this section the teacher focus. I want to the students to practice about materials that I have been delivered before, and so the practice in first step, ask students to open the class book and complete the exercise on page 94 about future perfect tense. I want them to practice of exercise in different ways, and by grouping that will make students understanding more wider, and by grouping they will help each other to understand together. Also, for the third step, I will help them if they don't understand the exercise. I will explain again the materials. And for the students' activity, what will students do? In the first step is students must complete their exercise to make them more improving their grammar. For the second step, they have to submit the exercises so that they know what mistake that they have done. For the third step, students will take a note of teacher's suggestions so that students they will study again and practice at home. Last sequence, I want to have 25-minute time length because in this section about the teacher focus And I want to give the students a small final assignment test about materials that I have been delivered before. And so the application, first teacher gives the materials about future perfect tense together. It is the final week of the materials that kind of test is given. Also, Also, the given test has to complete individually because the teacher has to see how the students after all 2 weeks and why the students expected to submit it, because in the last step after all the tests are collected, the teacher will review the answers together as a class so that the student has the courage to ask questions around their understanding and all practices. For students' activity, what will students do? In first step, by completing the assignment, the students will know how much they have understand the materials. Also, they shouldn't work in group. It means they cannot ask for help to complete the assignments. For the last step, it is related to each other because reviewing together, it will help the students to see whether their answers are wrong or right, and know whether they understand fully all the materials that have been tested or not. Creating unit tests. Now I will explain the unit tests that I have done. In my first part, I choose fill in the blanks because if I choose multiple choice, it would be easy for students and they won't think, but they will choose carelessly. But if I choose fill in the blanks so that they can think what they can or what they have to do. Like this example, fill in the blanks with the right sentences. Part 2. My part 2 of the unit test is about complete the sentences using will or have that is included in future perfect tense. And why I choose this kind of test is because I want my students understand to use their mind thinking about the previous material that I have explained them before, so that they can do it by their own self, how to finish the test. Part 3. And for this last part, the kind of test is finding the wrong answer and make it into the correct tenses. So why I choose this kind of test and why I consider it as a hard test? I choose this kind of test because this test is will, shows how the student understand about the first topic, and it's considered hard because this kind of test makes a sentence is another high level of understanding the material. That means it's not just know about the material, but also know how to use the topic that delivered in future perfect tense. That are my explanation of my format lesson plan and unit test that I made. So why I choose this? Because I want my students to know how to make a text that is instructing to do something or explain how something works. And the materials that I needed, why I want to use it, because I want a perfect explanation in my class, so I need that material. I hope all this explanation can be helpful to my further understanding of the instructional design. Thank you.